Hello everyone and welcome back to another math video. Today we're going to be looking at the slopes of parallel and perpendicular lines. So they give you an equation, you need to say are they parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Just a reminder, this is the short version of this lesson, so we're going to go pretty quickly just through the main ideas. If you want the full length lesson where we cover the lots of different examples step by step, I will link that in the description below. Before attempting this lesson, you should already know about negative reciprocals, slope-intercept form, and the slope formula. If you want refreshers on those, I will link those in the description as well. All right, so here, these lines on the left are parallel because they never hit each other. Okay, parallel. And parallel lines, we've talked about slope is a measure of tilt or steepness of a line, right? And so these two lines have the same tilt. And so they have the same slope. On the right-hand side, we have perpendicular lines, perpendicular lines. And perpendicular lines they form an X or a plus sign when they hit each other. They form right angles is the fancy way. But for their slopes, we need to know that they are negative reciprocals. And we should already be familiar with this terminology. Okay, so if you want a refresher, please go watch the video. So here we go. It says line P has a slope of -7/4. All right, let's stop. Line P has a slope, remember that's m, of -7/4. Cool. Line Q is parallel to line P. So we know we have line Q, and we know that they are parallel. What is the slope of line Q? So we need to find the slope. Well, if they are parallel lines, we said that they have the same exact slope. Same slope. So if they have the same slope, that would mean that line Q has to have a slope of -7/4, and we are done. For this bottom problem, we have line C. They say line C has a slope of -4/5. All right. They say line D is perpendicular. So line D is perpendicular to C. What is the slope of line D? Well, we just saw a second ago, perpendicular means that they have negative reciprocals. So we need to find the negative reciprocal of -4/5. That's where we flip it and opposite it. And so we should end up with 5/4, and this is our answer. For this problem, we should be familiar with this is in slope-intercept form. So we should be able to look at this equation and say, oh, the slope is -3/4. All right, and that was line F. They tell us line G is perpendicular to F. So we need to, if it's perpendicular, right, we do the same thing, negative reciprocal, flip it and opposite it would give me a slope of 4/3, final answer. And for this problem, okay, they tell us line E goes through this point and this point. And they tell us line F goes through this point and this point. And they want to know are they perpendicular, parallel, or neither? Well, we need to calculate slopes, and they've given us points. So the way that you calculate slope from 2 points is you do the slope formula. Again, we should already know how to do this. So it's 8 - 5 over 8 - 1, which gives me 3/7. Over here on the right, for F, we do 3 - 6 over 2 - 9, which gives me -3 over -7, which is positive, because a negative divided by negative is positive. And these numbers, these fractions, are the same, so they are parallel lines. All right, here's our cool clock for today, which means that it is time for you to practice what you just learned. Go ahead and pause the video and try these 3 problems on your own. And when you're ready, you can unpause the video, and we'll check your answers. Okay, now that you've had time to work these problems, let's check your solutions. For the first problem, they don't have the same slope, so they're not parallel. They don't have negative reciprocals, so they're not perpendicular. So the answer should be neither. For the second problem, we should have done the slope formula for U, and then they're parallel, so they should have had the same slope, so -3/5 should have been your final answer. For this last problem, it's a bit of a tricky question. So first off, we had to remember that, for line A, remember there's an invisible 1 in front of the x. So the slope of A is -1, the slope of B is +1. And then these are actually negative reciprocals because this is -1/1. If you flip that and negate it, you get +1/1, which is just 1, right? So these are perpendicular lines.
All right, that is it for today. I hope you all have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.